I'm Ken Collison. I'm an emeritus professor at the University of Queensland and a consultant, and I've been assisting Matt Morgan and Ausmex with their exploration program in South Australia, in Burra, and also in the Cloncurry area, running about 16 kilometres south of Cloncurry from Gilded Rose Mine down to Mount Freda. Well, I've been looking at the rocks in the area to try and understand the mineral system from which the deposits are likely to have been formed. I've been looking at the rocks in thin section to look at the minerals, the mineralogy. I've also been looking in detail at the chemistry of the samples and trying to understand what the association of metals means for the potential source of the mineralisation. And it's my opinion that this has largely been ignored by a lot of other explorers in the district. And what I've been able to find is the association of metals, which is mainly copper, gold, cobalt, platinum, palladium, nickel, are all indicative of a particular type of composition, which is very, very high potential for generating major tier 1 mineralisation. Ausmex has a very excellent tenement package in South Australia at Burra. They also have a very good tenement package in the Cloncurry area, as I mentioned. The techniques that have really been a breakthrough in the Burra area and have also been applied with some success in the Cloncurry area is a technique called magnetotellurics, and that allows the identification of conductive structures in the upper crust. It allows the recognition of potential feeders for mineralisation, and studies that have been undertaken at the Olympic Dam IOCG deposit clearly indicate the presence of feeders beneath the IOCG system at Olympic Dam. But using this magnetotelluric technique, Ausmex consultants at the University of Adelaide have been able to show that there are very similar conductive structures below the Burra system, particularly at a place to the east of Princess Royal and the Monster Mine at Burra. And this same type of technique was used in the Cloncurry area, showing the same sort of features below the Tier 1 Ernest Henry deposit. So it's a very powerful technique for identifying potential conductors, which are mainly sulfide, in the upper crust, and these potential feeders for mineralisation. You could say that Ausmex has probably some of the best postcodes for greenfield exploration that any junior company has in Australia. In the Burra area was very extensively mined in the period between 1845 and about 1870. That really resulted in pretty low cost open pit mining. It was then mined again in the 1970s to about 1981, but really no modern exploration had been done in the Burra area. I've looked at geochemistry that Ausmex has, and I am very convinced that they have the potential, based on the geochemical indicators, the potential to locate another very significant system in the region. But this will require expenditure. You have to test anomalies with drilling, and that's an expensive venture. Now, turning attention to the Cloncurry area, Ausmex have a fantastic tenement package extending for about 13 or 14 kilometres at Mount Freda. They abut against tenements held by Newcrest that were once a package held by another company, Exco, and that Exco claimed that they had discovered in that area a Tier 1 IOCG system. And the initial drilling that they have undertaken, albeit at very shallow level, and the geochemistry that they've presented is certainly indicative of possibly a high-level system above a deeper source intrusive complex that could host an IOCG type deposit. Once results start to appear, there'll be a number of larger Tier 1 companies looking at acquisition. Whenever you see surface samples that are collected over a distance of more than 13 kilometres, and along that trend, random samples taken at the surface are running more than 4 and 5 grams per tonne gold, it's obvious that there's something significant in the area. Now, this looks as though it's a fissure system that possibly ultimately links back to the deeper potential IOCG source that Exco had and that Newcrest are currently drilling at a place called Canteen. And Ausmex has put a number of fairly shallow holes into one of their prospects called Little Duke, and the indicators from the assays from Little Duke are certainly indicative of vectors that are pointing towards something fairly significant at depth. Ausmex, I think, has taken a very sound scientific and geological basis for their acquisitions of tenements, and certainly with the package that they have in the Cloncurry area and the Burra area, I'd say they are sitting on some fairly prospective tenement packages. I believe yield very significant returns for their shareholders. It is a company that has the potential for a significant uplift. I think where Ausmex has an advantage is that it has excellent ground for known copper provinces, and copper is a commodity that is in high demand and is forecast to be even in higher demand as the battery revolution takes hold. So there is not going to be a shortage of opportunities should Ausmex discover a significant system in both areas. And both areas, I think, have high potential, high prospectivity for generating a significant discovery. And one other thing is that in the Cloncurry area, there is also a very strong indication of high platinum and palladium, significant potential as a resource generating prospect. This is mainly because the existing platinum and palladium supplies are coming from Russia and South Africa, and they are regarded as being somewhat in political risk. So any non-African or Russian supplier potentially will be in a very good position to exploit opportunities. So I've never seen platinum and palladium values in surface samples like I saw in the samples that I collected along the Golden Mile sequence from Gilded Rose Mine down to Mount Freda. It's amazing, and this has been completely overlooked by existing explorers.